start, sir.
Well, my dear friends, I hope I am coming to you loud and clear. Today I am going to discuss with you the topic, the theme of imprisonment and its representation by Charles Dickens in A Tale of Two Cities. Now, imprisonment, as you can very easily understand, is a word that comes from the core word prison. Obviously, im is a verb prefix. Imprison means to put into prison. For example, impoverish means to make somebody poor. Similarly, imprison and ment is a noun suffix. Just as im is a verb prefix, ment is a noun suffix. So, imprisonment is indicative of putting somebody into prison. The act of putting someone into prison. Now, the theme of imprisonment in A Tale of Two Cities works basically on two levels. One, the physical level, that is associated with real-life prisons and real-life prisoners, and also the real-life imprisonment of those prisoners. On another level, imprisonment works on the metaphorical plane, as a metaphor. Now, if we discuss the imprisonment on the physical plane, then who are the prisoners? Basically, the prisoners are two. So far as the main characters, the major characters of A Tale of Two Cities are concerned. One is Dr. Alexander Manette, the physician. Another is Charles Darnay or Charles Evermond, the reluctant French aristocrat who has renounced the privileges of aristocracy, but who is still hounded by his aristocratic past. Now we'll see that in both cases, imprisonment is not only unethical, but also, strictly speaking, illegal. Both the characters, Dr. Manette and Charles Darnay, are imprisoned in France, in Paris. One in the pre-revolutionary France, another in the post-revolutionary France. But in this context, I must remind you of another bout of imprisonment that had overtaken Charles Darnay. He was put into the dock at Old Bailey. Obviously, just before that, he was imprisoned for a time in England. At the same time, we must also remember the imprisonment of the self-imprisonment of Sidney Carton, whereby he substitutes himself for Charles Darnay, taking advantage of their remarkable physical similarity. Now, along with the concept and phenomenon of imprisonment, we should also remember the question of release or liberation. Why am I saying this, release or liberation? Release does not mean liberation. Automatically. Release may mean liberation, but it should not be confused with the same. You see, in the case of Dr. Manet is released from Bastille after being imprisoned there due to no fault of his, but because of the corrupt practices of the pre-revolutionary French aristocracy. You all know that Dr. Manet had committed the mistake of trying to denounce the very powerful and well-connected Everman brothers who had abused a peasant girl and caused the death of her valiant brother as well, and the girl herself. Dr. Manet's imprisonment is described by Dickens in a very subtle way. The prison record kept by Dr. Manet, which ultimately forms the basis of Darnay's denunciation, is very pathetic. Even after being released, he stays with the Defarges. Dr. Manet stays with the Defarges. And the impact of prison life on this once active and quite competent physician has been very shocking. His emaciated figure, his tattered garments, his extreme nervousness and loss of memory are all effects of this imprisonment. In the case of Charles Darnay, in Old Bailey, Charles Darnay's imprisonment is ended thanks to Sidney Carton. If you read properly the text, you will see that Darnay has been imprisoned thrice. Once in in England and twice in France. The first time in France, he is liberated by the good offices of Dr. Manet, who, as an ex-Bastille prisoner, commands a great deal of respect among the revolutionaries. The second time, however, in France, Charles Darnay is again condemned to be imprisoned and later on to be executed, when he is denounced not only by Madame Defarge, but also by the written record of Dr. Manet's imprisonment, wherein the distraught doctor had denounced the Everman brothers and all their successors. As I have already told you, Sidney Carton takes it on himself to affect the liberation of Charles Darnay and his escape from France, a veritable prison, Why is France metaphorically presented as a veritable prison? Actually, France had some kind of a prison look in different ways, both before the revolution when the entire French populace, as it were, had been imprisoned by the brutal and corrupt practices of the monarchy and aristocracy. Monarchy and aristocracy had really crushed the lifeblood out of the pure, ordinary French citizens. After the outbreak of the French Revolution, France is turned into a veritable prison where people could go in, but it was very difficult for people to go out. The roads, entry and exit, all were carefully guarded by the revolutionaries. And both the arrival of Darnay at first and the managed with Dr. Lorry in the second place, as well as the exit of the group at the fag end of the novel, are all indicative of the prison-like nature of France as a location, as a country. However, by using prison as a metaphor, imprisonment as a metaphoric ploy, Dickens does in no way ignore the immense possibilities of the French Republic. And this is what is set down in the prophetic words of Sidney Curtin. I see a great people, and so on and so forth. I hope this discussion will help you in meeting the demands of this particular question, if it is set. So, I would like to point out that two other topics are left. One is the overlapping of the social and the familial life, family life and social life, and the other is Reshma.
Tension between personal safety and moral responsibility.
No, that has already been discussed. Oh, the theme of revitalization.
Sorry, sir.
Theme of revitalization. In the next audio, I will deal with the overlapping of family life and social life in A Tale of Two Cities. This much for the time being. Thank you for listening.